Good day and welcome to another exciting episode of Insider's View. I'm your host, Melissa Handrahan. Today I am so lucky because we have a very talented, a very intelligent, an extremely beautiful, and a good-hearted politician. She is a very, very leading politician in the caucus of the Liberal Party of Canada. She's none other than the Member of Parliament from the riding of Etobicoke North, and it is Kirsty Duncan. How are you?
Oh, Melissa, so excited to be here. Namaste, Sat Sri Akal, Assalamu Alaikum.
Well, I think you learned all of this from your years of being in office, but you are so good with the South Asian community, so good. I haven't heard a single negative thing. You work like crazy, and we just don't know how you do it.
I love the community. I am so blessed to serve a community I absolutely love, and the South Asian community has been so good in teaching me the beautiful languages, cultures, religions, and I'm grateful.
You've just embraced it so naturally. What do you think is the reason that you're so attracted into the South Asian community?
Oh, warm, generous, loving people who are my family. I always say, "Tu si mera parivar."
Wow.
And really, my family. I think of Vaisakhi, for example, and my Polish-Ukrainian mother now starts asking in January when Vaisakhi is, and
she can plan around it.
She does plan around it, and my mom is learning bits of the language, and it's beautiful, and we've just been so welcomed into this wonderful extended family.
Well, we know that the first, I think, Bollywood cinema is in your riding. It's Albion Cinemas, and there's a huge community that surrounds there. Talk a little bit about the dynamics of your riding in particular.
Oh, I'd love to. So I'm very blessed. I get to serve the community where I'm born and raised.
Oh, really?
Born and raised. And we are proudly the 5th most diverse riding in the country. So roughly 95% of the community are not citizens yet, are first or second generation.
Okay.
So there are some challenges: learning a new culture, learning a new language, finding jobs. And what I always say is so inspiring: everyone comes here wanting a better life for their children. Children are succeeding, going to college, going to university, having internships, and some are now struggling to get jobs. So what we do every day is we serve the community. First and foremost, we see about 100 families a day. We are one of the busiest riding offices in the country. A lot of what we do...
How many a day?
100 families.
You see 100 families a day? That's incredible.
It speaks to the need. We want to bring families together. It is heartbreaking for me when I have families members here in Canada and they can't bring their families. It's heartbreaking. I run a clothing bank from downstairs. When it's minus 35 and I have someone who's just come to Canada and has no winter jacket, I can go downstairs and say, "Sir, would you like this?" Oh, wow. We ran a free weekly homework club to help the children. We raised $9,000 for Haiti with the horrific earthquake. We do politics differently. I left a job I loved at the university. I loved my students, I loved my research, but most of all, I wanted to serve the community where I'm born and raised.
Well, you're very compassionate and heartwarming, and you really go over and beyond your duties as a Member of Parliament, which I'm sure is taking a toll on your personal life. Can you talk a little bit about the struggles of trying to keep a balance?
You ask a really good question. It's particularly hard right now. It's been an awful month for my family. My father's extremely sick in hospital right now.
I'm sorry.
It's been very difficult. I would go to the hospital before work started. Luckily, this past week, I've been in the riding. So you go to the hospital early in the morning, you go serve the community all day, you go to events at night, and then you go back to the hospital at night. So it's been hard because my father my father. And my dad has given, I'm really lucky. My parents did everything they could to give me my dreams. And now my job is to make sure my dad's getting the care he needs. And I have to tell you, in the last 2 days, things are looking better. So we're really excited.
Good, and I think a lot of my viewers can relate to that because, as you know, South Asian community is very family-oriented, and that's the reason that they're here in Canada, because they can get a better life. So on that note, I'd like to know, what in particular do you think that the government can do better to try and be more compassionate and be more caring and be more helpful to all of the communities that you've been working with?
Again, I want to say, yes, the South Asian community, how people look after family is so inspiring.
Yes.
Right now, I'm heartbroken. The government has made it very difficult to bring families together. And as I said, we see 100 families a day, and some of the cases are absolutely heartbreaking. Like, I have a family leaving Canada to go look after orphans from Sri Lanka, and has been doing that for several years. I have other families that are hiding in the bush in Africa. You know, Canada is the country that welcomed the world.
Right.
We have to honor the promise. That means when people come to our country, they choose Canada. We have to make it easier for them. I shouldn't have 150 doctors in my riding, 150 doctors who are not working as doctors. I have some of the best conversations in the taxis. Why? Because I meet cardiac surgeons, I meet neurosurgeons, or they're working in call centers. We have to honor the promise, recognize people's expertise. An engineer overseas, how do we recognize professional expertise so that they can come to Canada and start working?
Well, I think that the Liberal Party is well known in the South Asian community because first Trudeau introduced, Pierre Trudeau brought in a lot of the immigrants, and immigration was working fine, and it was, we developed a reputation all over the world. And the hope now is that with your new Liberal leader, Justin Trudeau, that
my former seatmate,
your former seatmate, that maybe this will happen again and immigration will improve and Canada will gain more status as a humanitarian country.
That's what we want. We want families to come together. We want to make immigration and family reunification easier. And we want Canada to be recognized on the international stage that it was. When I grew up, we were the humanitarians, we were the peacekeepers, we were the environmentalists. And I went to school overseas. And when I went to school overseas, there was not one day in 3 years that someone didn't say, "Oh, you're from Canada. We love Canada." And then they would say, "Canada is the country that welcomed the world and honored the promise. We have to get back to that."
In the last election, a lot of Liberals lost their seat, except for you, and that's probably because of the great work that you do in your riding in particular. And what do you think was the biggest lesson learned? What are the conversations that you have had over the last 4 years in the Liberal caucus as to what went wrong and how you're going to fix it?
I think Justin's two messages are hope and hard work. That, you know, this job is about listening. It's about being voice for the community. It's about being a voice for the voiceless. I work, I work 20-hour days.
Yeah.
I'm on the Hill at 7 in the morning, and most people will tell you I leave somewhere between 2 and 4 in the morning.
Wow.
Leave my office. When I'm home in the riding, I'm in my office every day, and I do 8 to 10 community events a weekend. Why? I want to be out listening to the people. Some people won't come to my office. They may come from a country where you're scared of government, because government has hurt you.
Yes.
So if I go out to these events, maybe they'll meet me. Maybe we can start to work on those issues. So Justin, we have to work hard. We have to work hard to gain people's trust so that they will want. We have to earn people's trust.
Well, Kirsty, I don't think that you can work any harder. I don't know how you live on 4 hours sleep, but we're going to get back to Kirsty's role as a member of Parliament and her relationship with the new Liberal leader, Justin Trudeau, right after this break. Welcome back. We're up close and personal with Member of Parliament, Kirsty Duncan. And as promised, we need to know, what is your working relationship like with Mr. Trudeau? As you mentioned, he was your former seatmate, and now he's the leader, and he's really shifting things around, and we'd like to know how close the two of you have become.
Melissa, absolutely. And just before I do, I just want to recognize your tremendous success with this wonderful new program. Many congratulations on your marriage, and we're so excited about the new baby.
Thank you. So kind of you. This is what I mean. You're just so compassionate. You're not your regular member of Parliament.
Well, just really excited for you.
Thank you.
And you asked about Justin.
Yes.
Justin is one of my dearest friends.
Great.
He was my seatmate. What impresses me most, my friend is interested in all things Canada, all things Canadian, and celebrating people. Ever since he's been elected, he has spent his time crisscrossing Canada, listening to Canadians, hearing their hopes, their dreams, and being there for the hard times, their hurts. I tell people, on those long nights of voting, sometimes we had 24 hours of voting, what do you think my friend and I talked about? We talked policy. Whether it was climate change, dementia, about our seniors, about our veterans, my friend Justin Trudeau can talk intelligently on any subject. I had him to BAPS, the Hindu Mandir in our riding. It's beautiful. It's beautiful, and it's a tremendous gift to the community and to Canada.
And to Canada, yes.
And to Canada, absolutely. And we took Justin through the museum, and Justin could comment intelligently on every exhibit.
Really?
Really. Whether it was the history of pie, the history of time, or Hindu deities. And I want people to know, never underestimate my friend. He is smart, he is passionate about this country, and most importantly, he is about service and doing politics differently.
But a lot of the critics out there, especially the current government, are talking about his lack of experience and talking about how he might be too young for the job. And you know, what would you have to say about that?
I think there have been many international leaders who have been young and passionate. I don't know anyone else who has listened to Canadians more than Justin Trudeau. As I said, for 6 years, back and forth across the country, riding after riding, event after event, listening. Isn't that what we want? We don't want politics from the top down. We want someone who is going to listen to Canadians and build the country with them.
As he's listening to Canadians, what is he hearing from the South Asian community in particular?
I think he's hearing, one, we need more help. Middle class is struggling. Kids, students who have finished education, not with just 1 degree, some cases in 2 and 3 degrees, aren't getting a job now. They're not able to move out from their parents' homes. They're staying at home. And you know, this is a real change. In the last 2 years, 80% of the cases that come and see me are looking for jobs.
Okay.
I will give you a typical example. I have a woman who comes to me, she needs a job. You start to probe and you ask to see the resume. And you know she hasn't worked in 2 years. If she hasn't worked in 2 years, how is she paying rent? Does she have enough food? Well, it turns out she's living in her car in the parking lot of her mother's apartment building. I know this person has a health challenge. How is she buying her drugs? Well, she can't. So I phone the physician. The physician says, she doesn't take her drugs. I'm not dealing with her. I said, do you understand she doesn't have a job? Can you help? So she's going to go drive to the physician to get the medication, but she has no gas. I buy the gas.
Wow.
That's what we're seeing all the time. People need support, and specifically from the South Asian community, day after day, make it easier for our families to come.
Okay. So immigration is probably going to be the #1 issue. What are some of the changes that you think that the Liberal Party can implement to make it easier?
Well, we're not going to be releasing the platform until the election,
Right.
yes. But Justin has talked extensively. We want to make it easier for people. People shouldn't have to wait a number of years to bring their family. I mean, it's been hard. I've had cases where the first baby's being born here. The family wants their family to be there.
To be part of it, yes.
And
yes.
we can't.
Yeah.
Or there's been a wedding, and it's the wedding of a brother, and I've had to go to the minister, and they've said the relationship is not close enough.
Oh my goodness.
That's not okay. A marriage, a birth, we want our family there.
Does the minister help you in particular to give out minister's permits, or what's the situation on the Hill for that?
When we've asked in the past, it's been challenging. It's been challenging.
So is that because you're in a different party, or is it because they're just not issuing that anymore?
I don't know. I just know when I have a marriage of a family I know well and I can vouch for, and the brother wants to have his brother come from India, and I'm told the relationship is not close enough, how much closer can you want?
Yes. Are you planning maybe on taking a trip to India sometime in the future?
I don't know if you knew. I've had the honor and privilege of being in India. I was given a wonderful award from the Indian Board of Trade. I was completely humbled. It was the Millennium Award, and it was for my research into infectious disease. And
really?
Completely humbled, and it was just a wonderful experience. And I very much hope to go back soon because I feel completely at home.
When was this award received?
That was 2008 or 9.
Okay. So I want to talk a little bit more about your background and how you got into politics.
Okay.
We're going to get up close and personal with MP Kirsty Duncan right after this break. Welcome back in conversation with MP Kirsty Duncan, and as promised, we want to know a little bit more about your background and how you got into politics, because you come from an academic background, an environmental background. You've done infectious work, infectious disease work, I guess, in India and abroad and all over the world. What drives a person who's so highly intelligent and highly environmental, and worldly, to a career in politics? I loved my work at the university. I like teaching. I love students. I love young people. And I really enjoyed my research, whether it was on the environment side or on the straight human health side. But for 20 years, I always wanted to serve the community where I'm born and raised. And my family and my friends for 20 years tried to talk me out of it. You're too nice, you're too ethical, they Yes.
will eat you alive.
Yes, yes.
And I said, isn't that what you want? You want someone who's
Yes.
going to serve?
Yes.
And so the opportunity came up, and it is a joy. I do politics differently.
Yes.
It is about service. As I said, 100 families a day, running homework clubs. I produce a sheet of where you eat for free 24 hours a day. If people have mental health challenges, we've taken them to hospital and spent hours at the hospital with them. I have one goal. It's to look after the community where I'm born and raised, and then at the national level, usually you have one critic role, possibly two. I have four.
As if you didn't have enough hours in the day.
One is international development,
Great.
which I love. So how do we help the people of Iraq, of Syria, where there are these major crises happening? I have status of women. And I'm just back from the United Nations in New York City. I mean, in Canada, in this year, in 2015, it is not okay that women earn 81 cents for a dollar a man earns. It is not okay. I do a lot of work to end violence against women. The numbers of women who suffer abuse in this country have not gone down in decades, and I fight very hard for that. I also do have consular affairs, so that means if a Canadian gets into trouble overseas, my job is to make sure they're getting all the help they need. And I've just had sport added, and as a former athlete, sports was my life. I was a gymnast. I trained 6 nights a week, 5 hours a night, marathoner, triathlete. Happy to cheer on and support our Canadian athletes. I'm just back from the Canada Games, and I'm hoping all Canadians are going to come out and cheer our athletes at the Pan Am Games and the Para-Pan Am Games.
Yes, that's fantastic. So, given all the changes in the boundaries for the next election in October, is Etobicoke North changing, or what's happening in your riding?
Melissa, you always ask such good questions. There is a small change. The riding used to be much bigger, and so part of the original riding is being brought back. Okay. And it's nice because it's right near my old high school.
Oh, very good.
And I had a lovely experience this past week. I was with this wonderful soccer club with the children, and I try and contribute as much as I can to various clubs in the community. And it was at my old high school. And I mean, it's amazing to be in a riding which you know so well. Yes. And you go door to door and you run into old friends you haven't seen in 20 years.
That's right. We have no doubt that you're going to get elected in Etobicoke North.
I have to work hard and I have to serve my community.
But you know, you're so well liked. Even the Conservatives don't have anything negative to say about you. So I think they're writing off that riding. But given all of that, what are some of the things that you can look forward to, say, if Justin Trudeau becomes Prime Minister? What are some of the things personally you would like to see in that new caucus?
A focus on doing politics differently, number one. Returning politics to serving families and serving communities. I am tired of politics and polls. This is supposed to be about families and communities. And making it easier to reunite our families. And when people have chosen Canada, what a gift to Canada. They chose Canada to make it easier for people to work here and to seeing their children succeed.
Now, if you wanted to give a message to the community, I'm sure you're going to do it in another language. This is your opportunity.
Okay. Namaste, Sat Sri Akal, Assalamu Alaikum. Mera naam Kirsty hai. Mainu bahut khushi hai television show aake to see mera parivar, to see mera parivar. Bahut bahut shukriya, bahut dhanwad. Just Melissa, thank you for this opportunity.
Well, thank you.
And to the community, thank you for being my family, and I mean my family. Serving you has been one of the greatest joys of my life.
You're so amazing how you're able to, I can't even speak that much Hindi. So
you speak about four languages.
You're doing fantastic, Kirsty, and we want to wish you the best of luck. It's definitely an uphill battle, I think, as we approach the election to see what is going to transpire across the country, but we'll let the cards fall where they may, and we want to wish you the best of luck because your humanitarian work goes over and beyond what a normal parliamentarian does. And so we really want to commend you for your work and your spirit, and we want to wish you the best of luck, and God bless you and your father. We hope that everything will work out really, really well.
Melissa, thank you for having me. Thank you for your kind wishes, and we wish you great success with your new program, and I'm looking forward to hearing about your family.
Well, we're going to have you back on the show on another occasion, but for now, that's all the time we have on Insider's View. I'm Melissa Handrahan. We'll see you next time.